So today's mindset hack on my birthday, and therefore we're going to talk about negative emotions. Okay, so you may have noticed that there's in essence, two different kinds of mindset hacks that I give you. Some of them are literally exercises, positive interventions that have been tried and tested by the psychologists, the positive psychologists. Some of the information is sort of like information that came from scientific research, and because I'm giving you this scientific research, you can utilize this knowledge to say, oh, what do I need more of in my life? What do I need less of in my life? Or what can I do today that for me would utilize this particular nugget of information to better myself and to improve my own well-being? Yeah. So that is sort of like, okay, you in essence come up with your own hack, a hack that works for you and that may not work for other people, but the hack that you can come up with for yourself based on some scientific evidence out there. I'll give you an example. When two human beings, so this is science that comes from the Pep Lab in North Carolina, where the University of North Carolina, where if two people experience a positive emotion together and they connect and they share in that emotion, then that the emotion becomes more positive as a result, right? So in essence, what I'm saying is scientific research has shown that when you have an emotion together with another human being, it's positive, then the emotion can become more positive than you could do on your own. And that sort of, that's a nugget. And that is actually, scientifically, is defined as the emotion of love, okay? So then you could go, oh, that's, I never really thought about that consciously. It's great that science shows that. What I need to do, I need to hack my own life and create a circumstance today and in my life where I understand that I need to connect to other human beings and have positive emotions with them. Well, the way that I can experience positive emotions with the people in my life is by doing ABC. And I'm now going to schedule that with them in my calendar so we can make that happen. Or you can say, hey, I'm going to go on the street and I'm going to do whatever I interpret to be a thing where I can share a positive emotion with a complete stranger. Does that make sense? Okay, which leads me to this particular topic. And I may even start doing it inside this video. But people, and I do too because they're so interlinked, people often use the word emotion and feeling as if they are the same thing. And that's really not true. Scientifically speaking, it's not true. In linguistics, we interexchange these words all the time, but they're really not the same thing. So I want you to listen to this very carefully, and if you can, keep listening to the information and allow your reflection and your thoughts and your interpretations of this to come after the videos, because it's important that you really get this information. There is a difference between an emotion and a feeling. Okay, an emotion is a physical reaction, okay? So it displays as a chemical response inside the body to something that's happening either in your mind or externally, okay? So your body is actually sensing something, and then it creates a chemical response, okay? This chemical response that then happens causes, for instance, us to breathe faster or to stop breathing. It may turn us hot, it may turn us cold, it may put a knot in our stomach, it may feel like we're constricted here, we may start sweating, our insulin levels are affected, heart rate, what's happening inside the centers of our brain is affected. So what I'm saying is an emotion could be objectively measured. I can put you in a brain scan, I can draw blood, I can measure your heart rate, your insulin levels, the vagal tone. I can measure all that, right? And so emotions actually take part in very specific places in the brain. Things like that I may have mentioned before is, for instance, the amygdala, right? And so our body is having this response, and we're having this emotion. Well, how is that then? So an emotion is biological. It is in our DNA. So it's passed on through our ancestors. So when I say we are bad weather animals by nature, so you can easily spot the people who do not do any personal development and do not get any coaching, life coaching or whatever, the people who are not raised in optimism and positivity, that when you do nothing, your brain goes depressed and dark. Why? That's because of life, right? But also we go there because we are prone to get an emotion and then go, I need to fight, flight, or freeze. Yeah, so that emotion is there to keep us safe, to actually make sure that our bodies and our minds are, and our bodies for sure, are put in a habitat where we can adapt and survive. And the only way that we can understand how to do that is if there is a chemical, biological response inside the body, which is an emotion. Okay? That's objective. And so when I say bad weather animal and in the word negative emotion, I'm referring to that response inside the body. You're under threat. And like I said, we have a hard time, though that biological response is created biologically in our DNA to keep us safe from famines, avalanches, and dangerous animals. We are now taking in information in the world where our shitty boss may as well be the dangerous animal. And losing our job is the same feeling, same emotion as the famine, right? We're not differentiating. And okay, so then how is that then different from a feeling? Well, a feeling is more subjective. The way to look at it is the feeling is an interpretation of the emotion, okay? So you're either good at knowing what you're feeling and why, yeah, because you are differentiating between an emotion and a feeling. Yeah, so you get an objective chemical response in the body. First of all, step number one, do you understand what they mean? So where you go, I'm not worried about what I feel right now, but that emotion of anger, I know how that displays in my body. So when people get angry and fearful, for instance, they become less open-minded, right? Also, when people are, I believe, angry, they actually, when touched, their sense of touch improves. There's all these different things that, do you know the chemical response emotion, what that's like inside the body when you're angry? For instance, one thing I do know, which is when you're afraid, your pupils, change. Yeah, the dilation of your pupils. You, for instance, know that you may also start to go scan the environment. There's things like that. When you experience shame, how does that display in the body? And then we start to look away. Those are all things that are based on emotion. You need to understand what those emotions feel like, or sort of the emotion senses like, I should say, inside the body, so that you can know what you're feeling. What the emotion is. See how easy it is? A feeling is an interpretation of the emotion. And you could be highly incorrect about what you decide to feel, or you can be highly correct. right? So if you're unable to tell the difference between, let's say, shame and anger, then your feelings are going to be way off. And then the reason why you cannot tell the difference, because you never really sensed what is the emotion. You never sat down and scanned from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes. What is the emotion? What's the chemical response inside my body right now? People who meditate daily know that exactly. Know that. Know exactly what anger is, what fear is, what disgust is, what shame is. Right? They know because they scan on the inside. Now, if you're being meditated and then think about feelings, that doesn't help. Feelings are also related to thoughts, but feelings are also about our past experiences. So it's an interpretation. And the emotions flare in a whole different part of the brain than feelings do. Right? So that's the differentiation. So you need to train to understand what the emotions are. And you need to pay really close attention as how you interpret. Are you interpreting correctly? Are you interpreting in the right amount? Is your reality testing correct or not? You know, if you're like, if let's say you're homeschooling your children, and many of you are, and your children are a little bit annoying today, which is subjective opinion by you, maybe by the rest of the world too, but you know what I'm saying. Are you, in essence, responding to that emotion, or are you responding to your feeling? See where that danger then lies, right? Okay, so there's also a difference between a reaction and a response to your negative emotion. A reaction is you're blowing up, right? You're being reactive. You're feeling, you're having that emotion, and the emotion is there, and you react. And that is sort of like autopilot. Yeah, a hijacking of the emotion. And I think that our feelings facilitate that. Right? Feelings going off track in the interpretation of our emotion, and then we react on autopilot. Now, some reactions are sort of out of control. What it's really about, and our reaction is a good thing if we get the emotion of fear because we're about to get hit by a car, get out of the way. You've also may have seen people freeze when they should be moving. That is a reaction, right? But a response is something different. A response is kind of going, okay, rather than being on sort of autopilot on reaction, there may be some areas in my life where I need to respond. So let's just say you're experiencing the emotion of anger at work, or the emotion of overwhelm and too much, right? And your feelings then start to go like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. You could react and start yelling at everyone, yeah, and be crying, or you can respond and say, maybe I should take the day off. Maybe I should get some sleep. See, that's how you take care of the biology of the emotion. Yeah? So you need to take care of your biology. And what we often do is we are run by our reaction of our feelings. We're run by our feelings. We're run by our thoughts. We are on autopilot of habit rather than going, boom, stop, scan, what's the emotion? Anger, yeah? How do you respond to anger? You let it taper off. Fear, you move away from whatever is fearful to you. Okay? Sadness, it's a feeling, why? Yeah, why am I sad? Sadness is there to create an introspection. So what is it that you need to, in essence, do in order to leverage now your understanding about emotions versus feelings and versus reaction versus response? What is it that you should be doing for yourself other than scanning and understanding and learning about emotions? Where are you being reactive where you should be being responsive? And pick one little specific context in your life where you're going to start doing that, rather than take the information, apply it to the big picture. I want you to be specific about something, whether that is having road rage or something like that, or being annoyed with your children at this moment in time in the world, whatever it is. That's the mindset hack for today. Courses.globalnlptraining.com is going to find our amazing online training, which is going to go live soon. We're just ironing out some technical glitches with the IT company, and drop us a note for discount. And tomorrow, 9 o'clock Los Angeles time, noon Miami, 6 p.m. in Amsterdam, and midnight on Bali. And those are NLP live training destinations. See you around.